Ladies and gentlemen, Hex community of all ages, hey, Jake Freedom here, coming to you live from YouTube for this week's Hex Update Saturday for October 10th, 2015. And we didn't have a whole lot of news this week other than a lot of deck lists put out on Hex TCG's website there for the Invitational qualifier tournaments there, the daily scheduled tournaments actually. I've looked through some of them. They're pretty interesting. You know, nothing really too out of the ordinary, but it's pretty cool to see those particular deck lists being put out there. They say they're going to do it every other day, or what? I'm not sure what they said. There was an article here that we'll go over and take a look at that. So that means that the invitational qualifiers, or the daily tournaments to get your tickets for the invitational qualifier have begun. It started on the 6th this week, and today is the first qualifier that's going to take place later on, and we'll get to that article as well. But let's just go ahead and back up here a second, and let's just start here at the style points. Bunjitsu, if you guys know the streamer Dino, or Dino, however you want to pronounce that, he's a pretty cool guy to watch. He's the one that wears like the dinosaur hat or whatever it is. I've watched him a few times. Pretty cool guy. And he's just going over here talking about style points, and he's going to do, he does, I don't know if you want to call it weekly deck building. He streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and he's going to start going over some not constructed decks, just deck building, things that are a little out of the ordinary, maybe things you wouldn't necessarily do, or champions you wouldn't use, you know, just some wacky stuff, just for style points. So you guys can check that out there, and he also has a deck listed here, the 4 Keeps competition winner, because he also does host that. If you're not familiar with him, he's the creator of the 4 Keeps competition, and that deck here is actually using that particular champion there. So this deck here is the Azure Fate, High Tomb Lord, Sight of Sun, Wrathwood Master Moss, Oracle Song, Extinction Pact of Pain. Nothing too out of the ordinary of a deck there, so it's pretty cool. What else is he going to say here? He said, nestled within a blood control chassis is an engine of pure awesome. High Tomb Lord. If you guys aren't familiar with High Tomb Lord, he's a pretty late game card. He's I've had him in a couple decks where he's a 1 of or a 2 of just for that late game, because he gets +1/+1 for all cards in all graveyards, so he can come out as a pretty big threat for only being 6 casting cost to threshold there. So it's a pretty neat article here. If you guys want to check it out, of course, I'll link all these into the description down below, so you can take a look at those at your leisure. What do we have next? Let's take a look. We have just some server maintenance, and we have an article here called Painting the Target. And it says, the road to Lake Forest and $100,000 Hex Invitational has finally been revealed to us. Let that really sink in. $100,000. That's 6 figures, and the glory to match it. Constructed now has our attention more than ever. However, the real question is, does it have your focus? Not every single player who plays Hex is dialed in exactly how the constructed metagame has evolved since the earliest days of Alpha, and it has changed quite a bit. If your own thoughts have suddenly turned towards trying to earn a place in Hex history, you should be organizing your ideas and practicing towards the goal at hand, taking down an invitational qualifier. So they go through here and they list some decks. They have this Blood Diamond mid-range deck. They have a Blood Sapphire control deck, a Mono Ruby aggro deck, and they have a Ruby Wild Ramp deck here. I was kind of looking through these, and it's pretty funny that they didn't list the Tarantula deck. That's a pretty powerful deck. But they did list the Mono Ruby deck that uses Quash. That one's a tough one. That one's so fast. You know, I came up against that deck in the last week's ESL. When, you know, first round was no problem, and the second round I came up against this deck, and I just, you know, I beat him once, but he ended up getting me, you know, the best of 3 there. So the deck is just, it's tough. If you don't have the right cards at the right time and they're pulling what they need, man, it's so hard to defend, because I mean, they're doing, you know, they're basically, it's a turn 4 kill, sometimes turn 3, depending on what they got going on. So it's pretty difficult to defend against that one if your deck is just a tick bit off on the speed. The Blood Sapphire control here is a pretty long deck list here. It uses the Shogun, the Archmage, a couple 4 Vampire Kings. Reese probably all played against this deck before. It's a pretty good deck. I don't mind it at all. And the Blood Diamond mid-range they have here is just Living Totem, Vampire Princess, Hope Heart Unicorn. This deck is a pretty common. You'll see this, if you do any constructed, or if you just matchmaking games. You'll see this one quite a bit, no matter where you go there. So all good decks. Again, you guys can take a look at these. I'll link that in the description there, so you guys can take a look at those as well. So what else do we have? We just have the constructed deck lists, from the 6th, 7th, 8th. They don't have them from the 9th here. So basically, if you're not familiar with how to get into these tournaments, again, we talked about this the past couple shows here. They're basically forcing people, well, not forcing, but to get the most tickets for your time of play is the daily tournaments, whether it be constructed or sealed. I think it's both constructed and sealed, but you get 4 wins, you get 10 tickets, and 10 tickets is what it takes to get into the actual invitational qualifier. So they do have some pretty neat stuff that they have in here. These sleeves here are pretty cool. They're not like showstoppers, but it's just, to get one of these here, you play in the qualifier, you get top 64. So let's just read here. It says, okay, tonight players will begin to win HEX Invitational Sleeves. These sleeves are a way for you to celebrate your progress towards winning the Invitational, and you can use them and let the HEX community know who you are. These two will be available from the first Invitational qualifier, which is these two here. The silver sleeves go out to all players participating in the qualifier, and the gold ones goes to players who achieve a top 64 in an IQ. These are 2 more sleeves to be won this February when the final 12 players vie for their portion of the $100,000 purse. So obviously the champion's going to get this one, and anybody who's actually in the top 12 will get that one there. It'd been kind of neat if they would have done a little bit, fancier stuff rather than changing some colors and some text. But hey, it's cool if you can get those. Obviously, you're doing something right, and you're well on your way in the game. So they talk about the weekly columns here, which I was talking about before. Then we got some PvE cards. I have to admit I'm not big on PvE yet because there's just there's not a lot to there. But Data Dragon here, he says that Data Dragon, hoarder of all, the data. You have to wonder what was he given the name Data Dragon and driven into the life due to his name, or was he always Data Dragon and eventually took that name once he realized his life's passion? As we ponder the nature of normative determinism, you can check here on hextcg.com every day for a new constructed deck list. Like a thief in the night, we sneak into the lair and sprint out there with as much of that data treasure as we can. We then share the spoils with you each weekday around noon. So like I said, they didn't do one from yesterday, but I'm guessing they missed it or just forgot. I don't know. So anyway, these 2 PvE cards here. We got a basic action card here. It's a 2 casting cost double sapphire. Troops you control get when this deals damage to an opposing champion. Draw a card this turn. Underworld Allegiance. Target troop gets unblockable this turn. And that's Infiltrate. Then we have Hag Reavers, 3 casting cost, single sapphire threshold to troop. Sea Hag. When this attacks, 3 random opposing troops get -1 attack. This can't be blocked by troops with attack 1 or less. Pretty decent. Don't forget, we got the 5 Shards Wild Cup coming up October today. Today and tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna make that one. I think it's tonight, isn't it? I'll have to look at that one. I might be able to make that one. And then we have HEX Shards of Fate Beta Cup Series in the European district or region, and then we have the North American Cup. So I don't know if you guys have been participating in any of the ESL stuff. It's pretty fun, but it's I think this is what they're talking about, ESL, right? Yeah, these are the ESL things. There was a couple topics about people participating in both and whether or not that was allowed. I honestly don't know if it is. What are your guys' opinions on that? Should you be able to play in both regions, or should you just be stuck in your one region? I don't know if that's true or not. It's just something I saw on the forums at one point in time. So I don't know if that is allowed or isn't allowed, and these people are just finding their way around that. I don't know. But anyway, the ESL is pretty fun. I enjoy it, even though I don't make it too far all the time. So we'll see. But last week's ESL, I did have to message a few, or I didn't message a few, I messaged one person, PJ Vetter, if you're not familiar with him. He won the vanity card from the Hextra live stream, and he was gracious enough to borrow me 3 Vampire Kings so I could just use those in the ESL tournament, and really appreciate that. So I want to give a shout out to him and thank you very much for that. So good guy for sure. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? I don't think there is much else there. So like I said, not a lot of, crazy news or anything like that, just deck list, because everybody's pretty much buried into those daily tournaments to get those qualifier tickets. I don't know if the Invitational will be streamed anywhere. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see how that works. We'll see. Other than that, that is the news for this week. And like I said, if I won't link the deck list here. Maybe I'll link a couple of them so you can actually get here. I don't know. You guys do what you want with the links. Doesn't matter to me. So let's go ahead and get in the game and crack this week's pack. It is going to be just a normal pack. Last week was the primal pack because I forgot it. And I did actually get the winners this week, so I can announce them on the video. So for the cards, the top 5, actually the number 1 to get Fento is Stormchild, number 2 Zubli, 3 is Dravno, 4 is Reem, and 5 is Pseudosphere. So congratulations to you guys. I'll get those cards mailed out to you as soon as the video is done and in processing. For the weekly pack, goes to Nutcase. Congratulations to you. I'll get that mailed out to you as well. So what do we have next? Oh, of course, let's crack this week's pack and see if it can hold up to that primal. Probably not. What do we got? There we go, right here. Okay, maybe we can get a legendary out of it. Who knows? We'll see. What do we have? Just rare. Starting off with the commons, we have Stinkhorn Soup, Arcane Zephyr, Mecha Filk Ape, Vampegasus, Scrapyard Dynamo, First Blood, Sudden Awakening, Deadeye Slicer, Stirring Oration, Gem Soul Feeder, and rounding out the commons, we have Tireless Researcher. And for uncommons, we have Oculus of Azathoth, Smirking Trickster, and Inflict Doubt. And for a rare this week, we have a Rhythmic Spiritualist, 3 casting costs, double Wild Thresholds, Kyle Warlock Troop, 3/4. At the end of your turn, you may put target troop from your graveyard into your deck. If you do, that troop gets +2/+2 and cost -2. That is this week's pack. Just a comment chest. Go and let me know what your top 5 picks are in the comments down below. If you let me know something else about the video, be sure to do that. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of these and get in on these awesome giveaways that I do every week, be sure to click subscribe down below, and we'll have another video for you soon.